concerns about the Jacksonville State loss. Michael at warchant.com.
I sound a little under the weather today, and it's so funny because a lot of people out there can relate to this. The second I had a tickle in my throat, the second my nose got a little stuffed up, it just felt like a common cold. But you never know. You never know anymore. And so anyhow, I'm like, it's probably just a cold. I mean, but breakthrough cases happen. So I thought, let's just be safe with everybody, find out what it is. It is just cold. Got tested. I'm good to go. Just a cold, Tom. And now all of a sudden, I could get back to worrying about other things. More important things like FSU's loss to Jacksonville State. Damn it, man. For a moment, I was distracted.
It's funny. I'll share with the public on Warchant TV and 93.3. I had a breakthrough case.
Yeah, you did.
A little while back. And I'm still in that grace period where even after being double vaxxed and then having the case, I got tiger blood for a few months, man.
Yeah, you're in pretty good shape.
So when you said I might have it, I'm like, well, doesn't apply to me.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah. No. You never know how it's going to react. Like,
no,
even if it's infinitesimal, you don't want somebody to run the numbers on it.
Yeah.
But I was like, if you got it, man, I'm okay.
So when you go back, I know you did it for Warchant, and I want to begin with this because people would like a little bit of hope. People would like to feel like they could turn the page and move forward. I did this yesterday. Thank you, In the Wind. I did this a little bit last week even because I've been gearing up towards this game, the Wake Forest game, for some time now. I didn't assume that we would I didn't expect that we would lose to Jacksonville State, so I figured we might be going into this game at 1-1. And instead it's 0-2, so the level of concern and desperation that one feels is all the greater today than we anticipated. But we always knew this was going to be a big game. So I was looking ahead and I was watching a lot of Wake Forest. And I know you did too for the article on warchant.com, at least in terms of looking back at what happened with Florida State and then looking ahead. I know you looked ahead after you did the piece.
The second piece would be running in a couple of days, but I'm already doing the research for that.
But one of the things that you find out is they're not real good. That's not a great Wake team. There are holes there with that team. They're not terribly efficient offensively. This is not one of those really good offensive lines for Wake. It's an adequate offensive line.
If it was a Jamie Newman team from a couple of years ago,
right?
I don't know. Now, I'm not trying to set us up to fail again because UAB did beat Jacksonville State by 31 points, and UAB did throw for 370 yards.
Yeah, they had some success.
Nearly triple the output of what Florida State had in the aerial game on Saturday. So we're not good enough to take anybody lightly. We learned that once again. The moment we think we're over that, next time, let's just not do that. Let's not. Let's let them show it to us first. All that said, it's a gettable game on Saturday. Very gettable.
I think that, Florida State is a football team that was flawed from the get-go. That was a team that we thought would have to fight to try to get to 500. We thought Florida State would be. So, one of the things that ends up happening is if you criticize another team, if you point out the flaws of another team, especially if they're on your schedule, people will compare and contrast that with what we are. And they can be two separate things. Florida State can be a bad football team, and Wake Forest can be an average to subpar football team. And you could lose to that team because you're not any good. So if I say Wake isn't very good, it doesn't mean they won't beat Florida State because Florida State's not any good. I just, people have to understand and put in perspective what we're talking about. We thought Florida State was a 6-6 team. You thought they were a 7-5 team, I think. But I'm not saying that to mock you. I don't remember what the last.
No, I had 8-4.
You had 8-4, yeah. All right. Well, the point is, we knew, and I would dare say, not to defend your 8-4 pick, I dare say that you figured that they would have to play really good to get to 8-4. They'd have to have all the breaks. Well, they didn't look like
what I was figuring on was Miami was more winnable than people thought at the kickoff of the season.
Probably still
North Carolina was much more winnable than people thought at the outset of the season. And that you could win either the Boston College or NC State game, and September and October was going to be a month where you only lose one football game. These are the things that piece together. When you say it that way, it doesn't sound crazy. But then when you lay an egg against Jacksonville State, it looks absolutely insane. So I didn't figure on that part of it.
Yeah, it's Well, that puts a fly in the ointment. There's no doubt that changes everybody's projection.
Getting to 8 will be very difficult now.
Not going to happen. I'll go out on a limb and tell you it's not going to happen. There are things, as I noted on yesterday's show and as well as on Monday, that are happening within the ACC that are unfortunate for those teams. There's no doubt. I mean, you can't have, if you're Boston College, you can't have your starting quarterback go down for the year because your backup is garbage. And we saw him in 2019. And so he's not a real good player. And that's a huge step back for that team. NC State, unfortunately, former Noles Cyrus Fagan out, but more importantly, they lose another defender, and that's problematic. And obviously, I thought pretty highly of NC State's offensive and defensive lines. That was a weird game against Mississippi State. They were right there, and then all of a sudden it was like they got overwhelmed and kind of quit a little bit. It was strange to watch that play out. It reminded you of who their head coach is.
Right.
Because the personnel's not that bad.
Right. Same thing now. Well, I'd have to check that a little bit. I was about to say same thing about Mac Brown. However, when the offensive line can't block Virginia Tech for any play in that game, then some of it's on Mac, and then some of it is just point of fact. They couldn't block.
What happens with us, though, after the Jacksonville State game is that none of those other foibles, none of those other problems for those programs matter at all. Because, again, anything's on the table when you've lost to Jacksonville State. You've now allowed thoughts to run wild about how bad this could get. And that's what this week represents. It represents people will, and I get it, because goodness gracious, you just lost to Jacksonville State, but all the good things in terms of hustle, in terms of physicality, in terms of being where you're supposed to be, things like that defensively, that we have seen for the better part of 2 games, get ignored now immediately. You don't see that as any form of progress. I was just listening to the Front Row Noles guys talk about that. They were talking about how they see real progress. But in my head, I'm hearing what every Florida State fan out there is thinking, which is they're 0-2, guys. They just lost to Jacksonville State. What progress of this is of which you speak? But it does exist. There is. The only concern I have this week is twofold. Where are they at up here? Where are they at mentally? Are they bought in? Will they continue to give that same sort of effort that we've seen through the first 2 weeks, at least in terms of being physical, being present, play to play, all of that, ignoring the last play, obviously. And then are they good enough? Simply put, are they good enough? Because that's the other problem, is that when you recalibrate perhaps exactly what they are and are not, and you vet the issues up front on the offensive line, and you think about perhaps that receiving core and what they aren't up to this point, you then begin to wonder, well, even if all of that togetherness is in fact present, even if all that physicality on the defensive side of the ball, especially against the run, that front four has been really good. Even if that's present, you just may not be good enough to beat Wake Forest. And that is something to say out loud.
Especially, again, this particular group of Wake Forest Demon Deacons. It's not like they're ever going to be a top 5 football team in the land, but there are some that are better than others and some that are capable of scoring 45 points at the drop of a hat. Whereas others, it might be like this group, a little bit more middling. I would say, though, if they're bought in, as poorly as this offensive line played against Jacksonville State, and upon rewatching a few times, yes, I did, Jordan Wilson did not have a good night.
No, he did not.
I wonder basic questions now about his aptitude as a run blocker, as a pass protector. He had a really, really bad night. I saw 2 plays the first go around, meaning the first rewatch, 2 rewatches now. I don't know why. I'm a masochist.
Well, you're trying to do things here. You're trying to figure some things out.
I saw another one on the goal line the second time I watched it. 3 plays. He's not in for that many plays.
No, he didn't grade out well.
No. And we thought he was going to be the 6th offensive lineman. I don't know. Maybe because of the caliber of this offensive line, he very much is a 6th offensive lineman here. But man, that is troublesome. That is really, really troublesome.
Well, because he's such a big body, you assumed because they loved him as a blocker that was really why they brought him in, given Norvell's offensive concepts, what he was trying to do.
I hope it's just a bad night, but I don't know.
It was a hell of a bad night. It's hard to imagine that you have that night if you're not paying attention and you're not focused. You got to wonder a little bit there. I mean, I'll be watching closely to see what the leadership is like on this team. I think Jermaine Johnson is that guy who's just not having it. They have that, I think, on the defensive side. Now they've got to, they got to make plays over there and be smarter, but I think they have some physicality and some leadership over there on that side. Who's the offensive leader? Who's the guy that's going to get this offense in order? And even if there is one, are they good enough? Because some of the numbers that you're producing now, when you look at McKenzie, Milton, they're not good. And if you want to have a passing game, which clearly they do, that's why he's starting this week. You got to be able to do two things. You got to be able to catch the football, and you got to be able to block it up front. And so far, they've done really neither. And that results into a whole lot of checking down, a whole lot of 3 and 4 yard pass attempts, which you ain't going to get it done. And that's frustrating.
Yeah, what's difficult here is I think this is another game just at first blush. I'm sure you could come up with a scheme that makes McKenzie the better player here. I'm sure you could, because I think in the grand scheme of things, if you look at the line of scrimmage, Florida State's defensive line should win that battle. If they're invested, they're going to win that battle. I think they will
win that battle, yes.
I think that offensive line is going to have a better time this weekend than they did against Jacksonville State, too. So I think when you're looking at the two battles of the trenches, this actually favors us.
That's what you're looking at. Because that's interesting, because I'm going to look more closely this evening at Wake, because I don't know that I would have guessed that from what you're watching, for the purposes of that article, that you're seeing that Wake Forest's defensive line is not as good as Jacksonville State's defensive line? Well,
I think there's two things going on. It may be about the same, but I would think that we might be a little bit more dialed in, and we might have a game plan in which Ja'Shawn Corbin gets the ball more often than Lawrence Toafili.
Yeah, you think?
Well, listen, there's no nice way to put it. There's a lot of yards left out on the field by a lot of things on Saturday. Keyshawn Helton's drop, there's a chunk of 50 right there. But Lawrence Toafili turned down quite a few yards on Saturday as well. And they might want to defend him on a Monday or Tuesday press conference. And listen, you got to keep the kid invested. So sure, I get that part of it. Circle the wagons around the player, protect the player, and hope he develops. But then on Saturday, when it's time to actually hand the ball to somebody.
Have the correct personnel in the game.
Yes, because Wake Forest will give that up. And if they don't, then they have to commit 8. Like literally, at least they have to commit 8 to the line of scrimmage. And still, they kind of give it up to a team like Old Dominion. So I think there are opportunities to be had here, but all things being equal, if I'm just my own personal opinion, I know Jordan can't hit the broadside of a barn, but if his lower half is healthy, and he was from Ira's report today out of practice working with the twos today, I think he needs to be a big part of the game plan. I know they just stripped the or out of the depth chart, but I think he's got to be a big part of this game plan.
We've said all along that both quarterbacks were going to be necessary, whether you wanted it that way or not. It was going to be necessary because of injury and because of offensive line problems. Certain teams would be able to exploit that more than others. I do know this, statistically speaking, it is already a travesty that on nearly 60% of dropbacks, the quarterback gets hit, whether it's Jordan Travis or McKenzie Milton. Those are the numbers. That's something to behold.
The line from Kenny, I had to put it in the article today, which again you could find on warchant.com. In their shot plays, they're 0 for 5, negative 30 yards.
One of them's a touchdown if a man can catch.
Understood. But even still, that would be 0 for 5 with 20 net yards, and you'd have a 50-yard touchdown on the play because the penalties rendered them 0 for 5, negative 30 yards on the 5 shot plays. Man, that is unfathomably bad.
Yeah, because what you do is you take the penalty yardage plus the yardage you would have had in certain situations. Yes, yeah, and you add it up and you go, oh my God.
I'm sure they're not even double dipping. That's probably just the penalty yards added up rather than the things that they missed.
Yeah, than the things they missed, right. Which is, if you think back to the Notre Dame game, how big was it not to miss? Like, you get the Ja'Kai Douglas play, you call up the shot play, and it's money, and it's made, and you catch that, it changes the complexion of the game.
And it's not like the receivers have failed McKenzie and he hasn't failed the receivers in certain circumstances. He's missed some things too. Let's not I don't want to get it painted into this narrative where it's like, well, McKenzie can do no wrong, so who is failing around him? The coaches fail him, the receivers fail him.
No, he misses a play early on.
Yes, it's Parchment's second play of the game.
Yeah.
Second play of the game. It's second and short. So if it was the first play of the game and you want to take a 6-yard chunk and 2nd and 4, I kind of understand that. It's second down and 2 because Corbin's first run goes for 7-8 yards.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you take a look at the alignment and he's looking to the correct half of the field.
Yeah, he's done the math.
I think Parchment is either going to score or be inside the 30-yard line with a decent throw, even if it is a pop gun arm kind of a throw.
Yes, he doesn't have a great arm, but he does have a quick release. And if he's assertive and knows where he's going.
Then you have the Cam McDonald miss towards the second quarter. We end up scoring later to go up 14-7. Yeah. But, I mean, my man, that's a wide open seam, and I would think that Cam is widening out as much as he should because the throw leads him into harm. He almost gets Cam killed. And there's only one high. So there's plenty of blame to go around. It's not like McKenzie's the worst part of the equation, but he's certainly a part of the equation of why we're failing in these circumstances.
Everybody gets tested this week in a way that we did not guess. We thought it would be important. Now we're on a lot of there's a lot of watch categories. There's the sideline watch. There is obviously personnel watch, play calling, which I hate getting into. I do. But also not only emotional and obvious investment on both sides of the ball, right? There's a physical response. There's a lot of sideline as well as game watching. There's a lot of sideline watching. There's just a lot to watch. It's almost like you can be done talking about what just happened, although it just hangs over and looms and will until we kick it off on Saturday.
Yeah, in some ways, we'll always be talking about that game.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, in some ways, you're right. The real hope for everybody is that we're talking about that game in a way that shows what an outlier it was. Maybe 2 years from now, you're like, remember that game? Good God. Man, I remember at that time, we never thought in a million years we'd be sitting here at 10 wins. Like you're hoping that's a conversation you can have with somebody, obviously sooner rather than later, but it's not going to be soon because they've got a long ways to go.
I long for a time in which we can discuss this game the way we talk about homecoming against Virginia.
Yeah. We almost laugh it off.
Even though that was an absurd game. They got like 3 kicks at it?
Oh, it was really absurd in a lot of ways, and including the greatest lie Jimbo ever told, and there were a lot of them. But the teaching of how to purposely drop a pass in those situations. Well, you see, we practiced that. You practice having Burt Reed drop a pass?
If he did, then he should have imparted that to Mark Richt before the SEC championship game in 2012, because what a lesson to learn.
Yeah. Is that why you fell to your knees?
Oh, that's so good.
That is so good that you dropped that the way we practice it is so good.
Wow.
I want to see it again. Let's call for a replay. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the Kraft Brothers dealerships. At Kraft Nissan, we've been amazed at the number of Toyota and Honda people trading up to Nissan's new family of SUVs. The changes are stunning. And don't just take my word for it. Motor Trend tagged Rogue as the 2021 SUV of the Year finalist, adding that Rogue can go toe-to-toe with Honda and Toyota. Well, guess what, Tallahassee? We can't keep the new Rogues on the showroom floor. Seriously, if you haven't seen one for yourself, come take a test drive and you'll see the new Rogue sells itself. In the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder, it's roomier, quicker, and better equipped. Plus, the second row seats easily slide and flip forward to allow access to the third row, even with a child seat installed. And finally, Car and Driver says savvy shoppers will be surprised by the new Armada's luxuriousness. So I encourage SUV lovers to come see the new Nissan family of SUVs. Everyone knows that Nissan SUVs have more standard equipment than the competition. The award-winning Rogue, Pathfinder, and Armada, only at Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive, Tallahassee.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks, we fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state government, including public health and emergency response agencies, our friends at ISF recognize September as National Preparedness Month and want to help you be safe this hurricane season. Visit ISF.com to learn more and download your emergency preparedness plan today. ISF, solving the future.
Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Oh, hey there. I was just singing the praises of Crawfordville Auto and Tire. They do just about everything. Complete engine rebuilds, brakes, shocks, tires, oil change, you name it, they do it. And they offer a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty on all parts and labor. Most of the time, they can service your car the same day and offer towing to help you get to the shop. Now that's something to sing about. Open weekdays from 7:30 in the morning until 6 at night. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
You went online to switch your car insurance to Progressive so you could save money, but then you saw a friend request from an old summer camp buddy. And now here you are, clicking through photos of his kickball team from 2011. Oh, looks like they won the championship that year. Then he moved to Tulsa. Oh, a new tattoo. Yes, they said it was easy to save hundreds on car insurance with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National average savings by new customer surveyed who saved in 2019.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Oh, man. You know, in a weird way, because college football was such an unmitigated disaster last year, it was so easy to pivot to pro football, which had a great product, in addition to the fact that the Bucs won the Super Bowl and we were on that watch, right? We were like, all right, is it coming together? Is it coming together each week? You know, you could kind of watch to see.
And it didn't really until December, but yeah.
You'd always get these glimpses one way or the other, though. You get the evidence that they could be the best team in the league on a given day, and you get the evidence that they weren't ready for prime time, and you get the evidence that they were still a work in progress. Then you'd see a game like when they blew Green Bay out in the regular season. You're like, oh, okay. And so we would do that, and it was just so easy to distract yourself. But with things having returned for the most part to normal around college football, and this really being the first fully invested season for us, it's harder to pivot. You wanted to be, and this was the entirety of the offseason talking points. You wanted to watch the climb. You wanted to see the evidence. You wanted to build along with them, even though you knew there would be bumps in the road in the way of losses because they weren't good enough yet. We thought the discussion wouldn't be about certain aspects of what we're talking about all week now. We thought it would just be about where they got to go for personnel upgrades and things like that. Instead, we're really not talking about personnel as much as we're talking about coaching in the debacle that just occurred. So that's not the talking point we thought we'd be on. It's where we are. I imagine it's where we'll be for the vast majority of the season because, as you like to say, once we know that's in you, then you're in constant protect mode.
And we've been in constant protect mode and or clicky pens and clipboard mode and or 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you mode for 5 years now. It does get a little bit old. It does.
Oh, it gets really old. There's no... I don't like to come on and pretend that things aren't the way they are, or I don't go along with things that are the narrative necessarily if I don't agree with them. So it works both ways. But this week has very much been about the exhaustion from having to deal with the same ass scenario that we've had to deal with now for 4 years running, grand opening, grand closing. Everybody knows this with Florida State football. I mean, the names and the faces change, but the results do not. And you know, if you're going to get big picture, you're going to talk about systemic lack of leadership. You're going to talk about not having a real AD here in however many years. The ongoing situation where you have one president on his way out, another president on his way in, and you have a lot of frustration that builds because you feel like it's a bit of a clown show around here. It's about a bit of a clown show from Florida State's vantage point.
The crazy thing, though, is there was no indication about this particular result and this
Correct.
particular
Yeah,
game.
no, this
because
came out of nowhere. Yeah.
everything about the way that organization had been run up to the point they installed game plan, I guess, for Jacksonville State,
Correct.
had shown great attention to detail. A lot of people who were in that building for everything from the end of Bobby through present times said that this guy is as organized, if not more in a lot of areas, than Jimbo is. You saw at least I did. It's my personal opinion. Market improvement from spring football until the last practice that I've seen, where guys are getting better and drills don't take as long because guys are more efficient and the body types are stronger and better. All these things. The transfer market, it looks like we hit on guys that could play the game of football, led by Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas, but there are others as well. All these things, you stack them in place, and then you have this just wild, out of character, or at least out of trend occurrence on Saturday. It was all trending towards an area where even if you won ugly by 10, you put together the Notre Dame performance and the Jacksonville State performance, say, all right, got a little cute there, no big deal. Let's go up on the road, beat Wake Forest.
You just can't lose the game. You just can't lose the
you'd
game.
linger on that point for maybe Saturday and the first show of the week on Monday. But now we have to talk about this like we're talking to a 3-year-old because we can't trust the 3-year-old. We can't put sharp objects on top of the counters. Like, you just have to constantly monitor this thing in a way that's so fundamental, it makes you sick to your stomach.
Well, you're tired of doing it because we've been doing it for some time now. We did it with Willie. And all of a sudden we're doing it now with Mike. Obviously, at the end of the Jimbo era, that last year, there was no investment. He was done. He was looking to land and make some money elsewhere and take it on down the road. And we knew that. And you could see everything had flown into the side of the mountain. So for years. And it's disheartening. I can feel the general malaise, the frustration. I don't think everybody's checked out just yet. But can you imagine? I mean, imagine if again, big picture stuff. Can you imagine the moment that clock struck 0 and they saw that young man run into the end zone, having failed to that level, not just, the on-the-field result being hard to stomach and a whole lot of head scratching for the players and the coaches in the moment, but the bigger picture. Again, we keep talking about trying to get this whole thing moving in the right direction, just a subtle steer of the ship to get moving, to get to where you got to go. It was all undone in an instant. And so you have major boosters. You've got big-time recruits that have verbally committed that are going to help raise the floor. You're going to have a different level of talent going into next year if all those guys say yes. You have alumni that were eager to get back into town. I mean, the COVID year really was difficult for everybody, so they couldn't wait to come back to town. They came in droves for the Notre Dame game, and what they saw, by and large, was a huge step forward. And they thought, listen, we left something on the table there, could have won that game, but clearly I see that things are moving in the right direction. Players are bought in. And just like that, it was all undone. And then, you think about it from Alfred's standpoint. He's trying to get all these corporate sponsors and they're buying in for the changes they want to make to the stadium and all this stuff that they're trying to get done in an instant. It's just remarkable how that can happen. That just like that, it was completely undone. And the rest of this year will be about undoing the undoing.
Right. It's not about advancement.
Right.
It's about getting back what you lost.
Yeah. It's about undoing the undoing. And that's such a shame. That's when Mike apologized, I think that's what he's apologizing for. I think he knows that he just sabotaged his own efforts greatly. And obviously, you do see, and I think he's telling the truth when he says this, because anybody who's ever coached or played any real organized sport knows that when you're committed and you work hard together, you have an investment, not only physically, there's the sweat equity, as they say, that is involved in the sacrifices that you're making, because you're not doing a bunch of other things you'd like to be doing while you're doing this thing. So you have all of that. But I know that when there are people who are in charge of that, right, who organize that and get you to commit to something like that, if you fail them, and he did, you feel horrible. It's a personal, loss. You feel emotionally crushed for having done that. I remember, it's so funny because it doesn't change no matter what level you're at. I remember coaching 12-year-olds, and we lost the game, and I felt like I may have made a mistake late in the game on a particular play call. Anyhow,
the mistake you made was unfortunate.
It was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the team we were playing was a was a better team than the team that I had. And we were right there with a chance. I was so proud of them. They had played so well, and we were right there. And I made a decision. It doesn't matter what it was, because you always go back if you lose and second guess any number of decisions. But the point would be, I was in the middle of talking to them after the game and telling them that, hey, we're going to be all right. A lot of good things happen. And my voice cracked. Like, I felt terrible because all I could think about while I was telling them how well they had done was, damn it, why did I call that play for Travis? The kid's name was Travis. That's funny. For Travis, when I should have done this. You feel terrible. I think Mike felt terrible for them this week because he failed them. Him and his staff failed them miserably. And I think he probably feels just dreadful. And this whole season now will be, again, undoing the undoing, trying to figure out to make sure you learn from it, like he says, and that they don't make those same mistakes, identifying the whatever communications breakdowns they had, riding the ship and moving forward. But you'll never be able to take the big step that you were trying to take unless something really surprising happens and you win the next, 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, that would be surprising, but it's not unthinkable. I know that sounds crazy. It's not unthinkable.
Well, what is it? Wake, Louisville, Syracuse?
Wake, Louisville, Syracuse,
That's
North
3
Carolina.
You can win. Yeah, well,
it's possible.
Yeah, it's
but,
possible. It's
it starts with one. Like,
let's go ahead and get this first one.
60-minute effort.
And let's not forget, you're a
for
road
the
underdog.
love of God.
Yeah, you're a road underdog here against Wake, so you're going to have to pull a quote-unquote upset to do it.
Well, insert one of the great cliches in broadcasting, buddy, because I'm glad they're on the road this weekend. They do need to get the hell out of town. In this case, I believe that to be entirely
I actually
true.
think you, me, and this fan base want them out of town. Leave! Don't show your face around here. Get the hell up out of here. Go take it somewhere else. I'll see you when I've had time to think about things.
You know how destructive a sideline can be when it turns on its own home team. And in college, kids don't handle that very well compared to pros. Pros don't really either these days. They run to social media and cry.
Crybabies.
But you also have a group here, if they've been a sophomore, junior, whatever, insert the redshirt season and the super season for COVID, that's all I've known is that an incredibly negative atmosphere. And where Mike made a colossal mistake here is people were starting to believe. This is where moral victories matter. This is where moral victories matter against Notre Dame. It's not going to cut the checks for you in 2 and 3 years, but it changes opinions. It makes a locker room believe in a way it hadn't before. It makes a fan base believe in a way it hadn't before. In a way, the Notre Dame game was almost like Mike's spring game. And by that, I mean, remember Willie's first spring game?
Yeah, it was a great day.
Everybody was like, okay, all right, pep in the step. Now, that was a longer process before the fall against Virginia Tech. Mike made it happen in a week. It's kind of like snail mail versus, overnight delivery. He made it happen in a week. People were like, okay, in lockstep, I can see it. And then you have that game plan, and you have to hit the reset button 6 days later. Jesus.
When you go back and watch the replay of the game as you did, and I know we got to go to break, but when you do that, you get even angrier because not only are you experimenting a little bit, not only are you at times I think you're misusing your personnel quite a bit. There's plenty.
You have to score 3 points and a half against Jacksonville State.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on there, but at no point do you think you're going to lose the game, but when you do the rewatch, you really do get angry. It's just a dreadful game plan, a dreadful execution. It's a dreadful night of football all the way around, from the officials to both teams not being any good at all it's just the whole thing.
One thing I noticed too, and this is not the lead, it's not A through Z in things you would want to bring up or you'd want to hear after what we just witnessed on Saturday as a whole. The thing that kind of pissed me off though, if we can get to the second level of complaints, Jacksonville State was allowed to clutch, grab, shove, reroute 20 yards down the field at will on a lot of the shot, like at least 3 of the shot plays. One was on Keyshawn, one was on Parchment. Like, oh, okay. So you're going to throw a flag for any minor infraction of any kind near the line of scrimmage, but my man's 20 yards down the field and getting yanked because it's Jacksonville State. You're going to let that go. You can't do that, man.
You can't
because it's Jacksonville State doesn't exist right now.
But I also want to get away from having Keyshawn Helton be a deep guy. I mean, there are things here where we've got the wrong people running the wrong routes.
Yes, I think a great play that embodies everything that was wrong about Saturday is a deep shot to Parchment that Jordan Travis took in the first quarter. Parchment's open. Free release off the line. He's leaving.
He's
goodbye.
Leaving. Yeah.
There is a tug of the jersey, a big time one. Should have been a defensive hold at the bare minimum. makes the pass uncatchable. Jordan Wilson's open, and he would run. I mean, he's not very fast, but he would run for a good 2 or 3 seconds before being tackled about 20, 25 yards down the field. So you turn down a wide open play to make a more difficult play, and the officials don't call something down the field. That, to me, embodies everything that was wrong about Saturday.
So when I go through the Nebraska woes, and this weekend they play Oklahoma, and it's an example of how the mighty have fallen, how the two programs have taken disparate paths to where they are now. But it was once a grand tradition, and it's worth noting that history. And if you love college football, you certainly already know it. But I have compared us to that team, that program, and they're a little further along in their failures and further mired in this depression of Nebraska football than we are. But one thing stands out to me constantly with Scott Frost's program currently, and that is when there's an opportunity to make a play, they never do because they don't believe they're going to. They're that downtrodden. They've been beaten down for so long that the moment is too big. And our guys show evidence of that. The weight of the failures from 4 years ago, from 3 years ago, from 2 years ago, from last year to now, it is the albatross that follows them around. When plays are there to be made on both sides of the ball, frequently they're not. And I think it's the weight of expectation and the want, the desperate wish to remove ourselves, extricate ourselves from this awful place of being, man. It's just it's not who we are, and we know we can't be here, but it is the reality of what we are right now.
There are 2 guys who are unafraid currently on that offense, and we all know who they are.
Jayshawn Corbin's not afraid.
That's correct. Trayshawn Ward is not afraid.
He
might not
need to see the ball a lot.
Yep.
A lot. Therein lies your mistaken personnel, one of many. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Jefferson County Sheriff Mac McNeil announced 15-year-old Christian Venezi has been taken into custody without incident in Leon County. Venezi was wanted on charges of second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and shooting into an occupied dwelling in connection to a double homicide in Monticello. Sheriff McNeil says Venezi was taken into custody just after 4 p.m. on Tuesday. A law enforcement tip led to his location and arrest. The Governor's Inn, located in the city's historic downtown, 2 blocks from the Florida Capitol, hit the pause button, closing for an estimated 11-month multi-million-dollar renovation. The overhaul is said to include upgrades to all guest rooms and suites, as well as the lobby and public spaces. A new lounge and patio are being added to the front of the building on the Adams Street Commons, and representatives said the property will retain the historic charm for which it is known. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McEnmore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McEnmoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 83. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy tonight, scattered thunderstorms likely. Lows level off around 72. Scattered thunderstorms likely tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 83. Overcast. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
It all started with a simple family dream, some hard work, and the foundation of honest, loyal, and fair customer service. Now, Spartan Stoneworks is Tallahassee's premier granite, marble, and quartz specialist. Your kitchen is your family's gathering place. So let a company with strong family values bring your kitchen back to life. Stop wishing for your new kitchen and call Spartan Stoneworks today at 510-4249. That's 510-4249. Online at SpartanStoneworks.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Greg Tish.
Thursday, 6 a.m. right here on Real Talk 93.3. It's another edition of the Greg Tish Show as we welcome in our Thursday guest, the fabulous, the phenomenal Dr. James Ryan Finn. And we also welcome in Sarah Cooksey from the Tallahassee Fire Department. We'll have the Wheel of Food, Matty Rowe. We'll have giveaways. We'll have a lot of fun right here on Real Talk 93.3. Sorry, you only got in a woohoo. Hey!
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Is confident. I will say this from what I've seen with my own eyes and talks I've had, I can say this team will rise. Hard work and practice doesn't always translate to wins. Winning is a learned behavior. All right, Marvin, here we go, Shade Tree.
Good. Make sure you have that discussion at the dinner table with your son. That's an important thing to state before we say prayers and break bread here, folks. I've got one thing for you, son. Just remember.
Go to Florida State.
Winning is learned.
Yeah.
Effort. That's culture.
So it is hard to envision if they were to continue down this path, Florida State, that is, that you would get the yes that we're so desperate to receive from one Marvin Jones Jr. That'd be a toughie.
We could use that yes right now. In fact, like if he's playing a game where he wants to, give Florida State max exposure at an All-American game or something, you know what? Right now, this is the moment.
Segue to your attention elsewhere for the NFL. Were you surprised by any of the lines here that came up? I'm kind of looking at that Chicago Bears-Cincinnati Bengals game and going, hey, that's interesting. That Bears offensive line looked like one of the worst offensive lines in the league the other night, if you watch that game. I mean, their tackle situation
was tough to watch.
Well, it's a mess. They had salary cap problems in the offseason. They did not re-sign Bobby Massey. They released their left tackle, Charles Leno Jr., and they don't have much going for them right now in that situation. So that was an interesting. They signed a 39-year-old guy, Jason Peters, to play left tackle.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Once upon a time, a very good player.
That game right there is a interesting game right off the bat, by the way. Yeah, once upon a time, he was a really good player. That was like 10 years ago when he was towards the end of his career.
Matthew could weigh in on that. Over 5 years since he's been a good player.
It's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a long while.
As an Eagles fan, he would know.
How concerned are you getting with the Baltimore Ravens situation? Their offensive line was decimated and brutalized by the Las Vegas Raiders in that game. If you're just looking for teams to be worried about, I think you identified a few here. I'm going to be interested to see what ends up happening with the Indianapolis Colts. They've got a rough go here. They play the Rams this week, and then they have a stretch of games in which they're going to play the Titans, Dolphins, and Ravens. Getting off to a slow start is no way to live with that schedule, my man.
Yeah.
That's a toughie.
If I'm a Tennessee fan, I might say, okay, so we got outclassed by Arizona. Less than ideal.
Thoroughly.
In our building. Don't like that.
They got beat 38-13 at home.
But if Indy loses to the Rams, okay, then we've got time. Because now we're just shooting for 9-8 in this division. That's all we need. But Indy needs to lose that game. There's a couple of tantalizing lines, though, with, for example, the Patriots going down to New Jersey to play the Jets, and it's only 6.
Yeah, I like New England there.
It seems a little light, but it's one of those where you're like, what do you know, Vegas? What do you know?
I also really kind of like that Dolphins team. I think it's catching points, right? Again, is that right?
3.5 at home.
Woo!
You're getting 3 plus the hook.
And I like that defense. Okay. I'm all right there.
The Saints are only 3.5-point favorites over Carolina. Now, there are COVID concerns within that franchise.
Nine of them.
Apparently, it's mostly coaches. It's mostly coaches, and they think that the coaches will be available this weekend anyway. So you might be getting a COVID discount.
Okay.
If we could be so callous as to apply
Can you believe that we're at a place we're at a place now where this is what you do? This is part of your calculations. This is what you have to do with both college and pro. If it's later in the week and you're making those assessments and adjustments, you're like, well, are we getting a COVID discount here? Are we getting what we is the line affected? That's where we're at.
Another one that feels too good to be true. Texans, Browns. Cleveland favored by 12.5 at home. 12.5. It looked like the Texans were.
Well, they were invested.
They were, and they're competent in the trenches. Not as good as Cleveland, but competent in the trenches. That feels like What does Vegas know here too? Because I feel like whatever side I pick, I'm wrong by 10 points.
Yeah, I'll also tell you this, man. I watched a good bit of that game because I had the Texans, but I also just wanted to see what Urban Meyer's team looked like. I wanted to see what they had dialed up for Trevor. Whew. It's going to be a long year in Jacksonville. They just don't have much in the way of personnel. That's going to be a toughie.
And your new head coach of the USC Trojans.
All right, so that came up today, and he already answered it. And it's funny to me that he would have to answer it because that tells you what everybody thinks about Urban Meyer and what his proclivity would be, right? Immediately, like they saw the sorry product in week 1. They saw all the offseason mistakes and the silly moves that he made.
I think there were a couple of these moves.
Yeah.
Just kind of grabbing. He's grabbing at the chest after the first couple of drives.
He said today there was, quote, no chance he'd leave the NFL for the USC job. Quote, I'm here and I'm committed to try to build an organization. Earlier this month, Meyer had also said he doesn't miss recruiting. I bet that's true. I bet that's true. I bet every coach that leaves college football for the NFL feels a huge weight come off his back because recruiting has got to suck. It never ends.
Oh, I would think it does. And a lot of these
placating
guys
kids
are talking about how NIL is the end of college football. Not if you go to USC. You have plenty of money. That is not a concern at all. It's a matter of, do you feel like recruiting and building something from scratch again?
You know, it's also something to, whenever this happens, I'm blown away. When Clay Helton's fired after 2 weeks on the job this year, now 8 years in his career. If you're going to fire him the second week of the season, then he was the wrong guy to start the season. What are you doing?
Well, that athletic department's been a joke for a long time. I'm sure that's what people say on the West Coast about us.
Oh, without question they do, and they're right. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Welcome to Tallulah Talk After Hours, your home for all things CBD. Tonight, we're talking about the benefits of CBD personal lubricants, CBD massage oils, romantic CBD scented candles, chocolates, and even CBD bath bombs. Did you know CBD lubricants can lead to increased sensitivity, resulting in longer and stronger experiences? What's left to talk about? Get yours today at Tallulah CBD on Market Street and now open in Betterman Crossings. Thanks for listening to Tallulah Talk After Hours.
When some slithery, slimy something shows up uninvited in my home, I want it gone. Now. Not next Tuesday, not tomorrow. Today. Pretty sure I'm not sleeping knowing that thing is crawling around in my house. That's why I call Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Here in Tallahassee, Paul's guarantees same-day service if I call before 1. Ants, roaches, mice, wasps, fleas, whatever it is, Paul's responds with guaranteed same-day service. Pretty sure I've never heard that from any other pest company. Guess that's an advantage to being a locally owned and operated company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control. They're here and make things happen fast.
We at Paul's know when you have some pest or rodent in your home, you want it out now. That's why in Tallahassee, we guarantee same-day service. You call us before 1, we'll be there before 5, guaranteed. That's our commitment to you. The health and protection of North Florida friends and neighbors is the reason we love our jobs.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all. Learn more at callpauls.com.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
You went online to switch your car insurance to Progressive so you could save money. But then you saw a friend request from an old summer camp buddy. And now here you are, clicking through photos of his kickball team from 2011. Oh, looks like they won the championship that year. Then he moved to Tulsa. Oh, a new tattoo. Yes, they said it was easy to save hundreds on car insurance with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National average savings by new customer surveyed who saved in 2019.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, Eddie, what would you be doing?
You know, I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, a boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Way to answer this because it involves further criticism, at least for now. But there is a question on Twitter at J Cameron Show. Random question. Thanks, John. Do you think Norvell is sticking with McKenzie Milton because if he loses Travis, then he plans to roll with Chubba? Chubba hasn't looked good. Chubba hasn't looked good, in my opinion. When I see him play in practice, he's not good. That's a straight up assessment of what I see in practice.
There's no way, like, okay, so maybe in a different universe that could be the thought, but you don't want to play the long game right now. See what the long game got us this past Saturday?
You'll play the long game if you lose this week. You'll play every young kid you have on this team.
Yeah, what does McKenzie get you in the long game after this week if you lose this game? Then you just, I don't even know what you do.
Well, that's a little bit of a different set of circumstances there. You could not afford the negative PR that would come with sitting him just because you wanted to start playing for next year after you've convinced him to come here. That'd be a toughie.
Well, there's a lot of toughies going around right now.
I'm not saying that you owe him much more than an honest shot at playing and winning the job and all that, but good luck with that. I mean, the guy, I'm sure this was a conversation, about if he's healthy enough and he's able to play. And he outperforms. Now, you'd have to win it legitimately. I don't think anything was promised in the sense that even if you don't win it, you don't get to play. But, yeah, I would think that it would be awfully tough to just say, that's it, that's all. 0-3, we're going to go this route. Trouble starts the rest of the way.
It is extremly unfortunate that we must go through these exercises.
Oh, man.
These hypothetical exercises. There are no fun. There's no fun element to any of this. And had you at least escaped last weekend, we could still be talking about the importance of the Hill. You guys mentioned it yesterday on Headlines.
Yeah.
You didn't even talk about the Hill.
Take the Hill. Nobody's taking the Hill. We lost a battle we should have never lost.
Even if we win, do we take the Hill?
No. I told him to go take a nap on the Hill. Don't even worry about it. Just get cozy. Kind of make it yours. You don't have to burn it down. We've lost the fire. I think, too, that it shows you can stink in a game that you should beat somebody by 27, in a game where you're favored by 40. We see this all the time. There have been narrow escapes forever where you go, oh my God. Well, and losses that are stunning. What was the Old Dominion when they beat Virginia Tech? Was it we were watching that day? We're like, oh my God, how's that even possible? And I gave you the stats afterwards of Old Dominion's record of the last 8 years or whatever it was. It was just like they hadn't beaten anybody, like terrible teams. And so you're always, we are so used to being able to point from afar. We've never lost to Duke, for example. So when Miami beat Duke, we're like, that kind of thing, right? But now here we have this on our plate. It was Georgia Southern is beating the Gators.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
The one thing I learned about scheduling opponents and things like that from this past weekend is the Duquesne game is actually a good idea.
No.
That was a good idea.
No.
Yep,
No.
It is now.
They don't
it's
even
transformed from a bad idea to a good idea.
Come on, man. That's like a 50-man roster. They don't even have scholarships.
That's just the size of a roster that we need.
It's not what you do. It's not what you do.
If you're trying to schedule a win, we can't schedule Jacksonville State anymore. ULM? Nope. Sanford? Nope.
You can
need Duquesne. More UMass.
Oh, my God. You can't do that. Hour number 2, fourth comes to win.
Larry Nasser. was sexually abusing athletes.
It truly feels like the FBI turned a blind eye to us and went out of its way to help protect USAG and USOPC. A message needs to be sent. If you allow a predator to harm children, the consequences will be swift and severe. Enough is enough.
Biles, along with 3 other gymnasts, used congressional testimony to blame not only the gymnastics organization, but also federal law enforcement, as hundreds of young athletes were abused. Also at townhall.com, Republican candidate for governor Larry Elder, who lost in an election to recall Gavin Newsom, told supporters they may have lost the battle, but they'll win the war.
We are forcing them now to pay attention to the problem of homelessness. We are forcing them now to do a better job on schools. We are forcing them now to do a better job on clearing our forests. We're forcing them now to do a better job about energy. We are forcing them now to pay attention to the things they should have paid attention to 2 years ago.
California voters on Tuesday voted to keep the first-term Democrat Newsom in office, Elder vowing to continue fighting for the Golden State. A UN official says 4 million Afghans are facing a food emergency, and the majority live in rural areas where 36 million is urgently needed for the coming months to ensure the planting of winter wheat, feed for livestock, and cash assistance for vulnerable families, the elderly and disabled. There's also a severe drought affecting 7.3 million Afghans. On Wall Street, stocks higher, the Dow up 240 points, the S&P 33 points higher. More at townhall.com.
When was the last time you watched your home movies? Do you have a VCR anymore? What about a film projector?
With technology constantly changing, most families don't have a way to enjoy their recorded memories, trapped on VHS, camcorder tapes, film reels, and photos.
That's why we created Legacy Box over a decade ago. Legacy Box is an affordable mailed-in kit to have your aging media digitized to DVD, thumb drive, or the cloud. Our trained technicians digitize everything by hand right here in the U.S.
Imagine being able to easily relive weddings, graduations, baby's first steps, and more. Get started future-proofing your memories today so you can gather the whole family together and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, we're offering 40% off.
Visit legacybox.com/lbox to get an exclusive 40% off. Buy today to take advantage of this incredible offer and send in when you're ready. Go to legacybox.com/lbox to save 40% off. legacybox.com/lbox.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn from Finn Chiropractic. The number one myth about chiropractic is you don't have to take care of your spine until it hurts. Most patients come in with symptoms, neck pain, back pain, headaches. Those are not the cause of your problem. That's the result of your problem. So unmask the cause of your problem at Finn Chiropractic through the Phenomenal Health Examination. So if you're a loved one or having neck pain, back pain, or headaches, don't mask the symptom, unmask the cause at Finn Chiropractic, because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. Get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here that I'm sapped of the normal fervor that I have for this. Also, I think the team really let me down. I feel personally let down.
I don't think you're alone in that feeling. I think a lot of people feel personally let down.
They have personally failed me. You couple that with a little bit of a cold, frustration.
Think about how many Noles who decided to attend the game last Saturday, and the attendance was all right at kickoff.
Wasn't as
terrible.
bad. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Because people had pep in their step from the Notre Dame game, saying, "Okay, I'm about to see improvement tonight," and then they didn't. They feel personally let down.
Have you seen the many? Have you been able to bear it? I tend to turn away. I'll look away, but we made every possible low light news cycle that there is around the country. Whether it was, First Take, which is your favorite show, whether it was, I'm kidding everybody.
DVR it every day.
Yeah. Whether it was, what's the one that Tony Kornheiser's on? I never remember the name of that show anymore.
PTI.
Yeah, PTI. Did you see that at the end of PTI?
No, man, I don't watch any of that. Like one of the great things about being as busy as we are.
Yeah, you don't have time to get bogged down in the nonsense.
No, there's no time for any of it.
But if you had, people send it to me.
I heard we made Good Morning America.
Good Morning America for the wrong reasons. PTI, you name it, all around the country. Any show, really, any show. And not just because of the play, like the play made it, where you see the kid run in and everybody's like, oh my God. And then the still photos are funny because when it happens to other fan bases, I laugh. So you had to know it was coming. I mean, they've got Florida State students and Florida State fans like in 1 minute cheering, thinking they've won the game. And then the next, that kid's running in and they do a still frame by frame of the slack jawed, the scorpion, the whole thing. It's fun to watch.
Surrender Cobra.
Yeah. Surrender Cobra. Yeah. The whole thing. It's all there. But yeah, the other thing that came up, and I think I don't know why, it seems like every year they should know better because we've given them enough ammunition to know better, but it usually takes a game like this. Now, this maybe being the lowest, let's hope, where they go, what? They're reminded, like, what happened down there? They used to be juggernauts. What's going on down there? They just keep asking the question out loud, like, what happened to that place? I mean, my God, my whole life covering sports, they've been dominant. Look at these a-holes. Whatever happened to them?
That's one of those times on PTI I wouldn't be mad at them for being unprepared. Kornheiser always is. His compatriot never is. Yeah. But I'd understand that in that case. Like, what? For anybody outside of this town, outside of this fan base, alumni base, it's a fair question.
A Florida State friend of mine, alumnus of Florida State, who was he lives in a different part of the country, and he was attending another football game. Okay. And he gave me a call to tell me the story of how he found out that we lost. In the stadium, he was at a night game. In the stadium, he kept seeing the score up on the scoreboard, and he's like, God, get it together, guys. He's pissed. Meanwhile, he's watching this other game with his wife, who's a graduate of that school that they're at, right? And he's watching, he keeps doing the thing. You know how we've all done this. We've all been out of town checking our team score or looking at our phone, trying to get an update or whatever it is. And it's disconcerting when things aren't playing out as they should.
I got a good one for you after. Yeah.
So he tells me he's watching, he's looking, he's like, all right, 17, all right, they're going to win. Because he sees up on the board, it says 17-7, 7 minutes, whatever it is, right? He's like, okay. They're going to win.
You get to the watermark where you're like, all right.
You really probably can't possibly lose now.
Not going to be a cover, but
not only not going to be a cover, but it's an awful game. Clearly, they didn't play well. I wonder if it's inclement weather. I wonder, is it a monsoon this time of year in Tallahassee? So they leave the game that they're at. It finally ends. And it ended before our game did. So the last score he saw was up 10. He gets home assuming that we'd won the game, and he wants to watch the highlights of all the other games that he's missed while he was that's the downside of attending games, right? Is you miss all those other games. And he's just about to turn off his TV when he hears them say, and stunning results in Tallahassee, and Mike Norvell's program has and he's sitting there going, well, what's going on? What's going on? And he watches the play, and he just could not. I mean, this is it's the middle of the night. It's a full hour and a half. 2 hours after, and he gets that result, and he had no idea. And he said, I couldn't go to bed. I was so pissed off I couldn't go to bed. I joined the club, buddy. Now imagine you watched it in real time. All of us could not go to bed. I wonder how many people listening to this show, invested emotionally or financially or both, could go to bed after that game, could just be like, okay, that's it, turn it off and go to bed. I can in certain situations. If we lose to, a middling ACC team, if it's a pick 'em or we're 7-point favorites or dogs and we lose, okay, happens. I'm used to it. Sadly, very sadly, I'm used to it. But I can just go to bed. I click it off and go straight to bed and go, all right, well, we still suck. Go to bed. This was a different kind of sting to the point where it's Wednesday and I'm still talking about this and I'm getting angrier as I talk about it. It was a different feeling. It was are you effing kidding me? What have you done?
Yeah, the size of the exhale I had to take before going on live with the Warchant post-game show to react to that.
God bless you.
I asked Gene, I said, is there a pension for this here work? This is an interesting one. But the
post-traumatic stress right there on display for the world to watch.
The story I have for you is I was at a Bucks game during the Miracle at Medina in the Ryder Cup.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like it's my fault because I said, yeah, you know what? I'll go to this game. I kind of want to watch the Ryder Cup on the finish. We're going to win this. We're up 10-6. It's all good. But you know what? Let's just go to the football game. Go with my friend. This is great. It's going to be a good day. I had a flip phone, like most others in those days.
Back in the day, baby.
And I would get my updates via the flip phone internet through the 3G. And it got worse. And I was getting play-by-play information, sentences on a flip phone about what was going on in that Ryder Cup finish. And it was around the end of the third quarter that I had realized, oh no, we have blown the 10-6 advantage. What happened in 99 at Brookline has happened to us. And it took 2 hours. And it cost me my entire cell phone battery. And I don't think the Bucks even won the football game.
Doubtful back then.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a tough day. It's a tough day.
Sometimes I wish, though, that information was, I know it's very rare, but certain types of things were passed along that slowly, even still today. Like the instantaneous thing is not always good. Certainly not good.
No,
yeah.
Watching the screen refresh every 5 minutes, to see, oh God, it's 13-11. Oh no, it's 13.
What are we doing?
Yeah. I thought we had that match. Now it's 13.5, 11.5, because he lost on the 18th hole.
Yeah.
But, it's just as it's pulling up, you're like, oh, even in its own
it's
way.
Always not what you wanted to see.
Oh.
It's forever not what you wanted to see. Over and over and over.
Dude.
That's a bad result. That's a bad result. That's a bad result. Another bad result. Okay, that doesn't look good. We're in trouble there. Not good. Is somebody going to step up? Let's go. But I got to wait. It's going to take forever. That part of it's bad.
Once upon a time in this football program's history, we were doing just that with our phones in the year 2013. And it was watching, we were down on the field, the late Bobby Bowden, now it's strange to say, was being honored before the game. Remember that?
Yeah, I was down on the field.
Yep, you, me, and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And we were watching the play-by-play of Miami and Wake Forest because Miami was about to blow a game at home against Wake.
They found a way to win it, though.
And they scored
to keep the ranked matchup.
To keep it game day, because we knew from ESPN contacts that it was going to be the 8 o'clock kickoff, and it was going to be game day. And we didn't want that nooner. We were rooting for an 8 p.m. kick. Now I'm like, get it over with. Let's kick at noon. Let's kick at 10 a.m. If you're going to disappoint me, do it earlier. Once upon a time, it was, no. We need the primetime game. We need the platform.
Yeah. No, now I want to play, like we used to make the jokes all the time when your program's bad. Like, okay, looks like we're playing on a Wednesday on Comedy Central. Okay, just fine. Just stick us over there until we have earned a place at the table. Leave us over there. It is so weird to talk about wanting to protect your program from further embarrassment as opposed to being emboldened enough to say, no, we're going to be fine. It is bizarre. And it's been ongoing. It hasn't changed for a long time. This rekindled that. This reopened those wounds. This reminded us that, yep, still miles to go. Miles to go.
Continents to go.
I just keep, now every time I'm waiting for them to tell us the kickoff time for any game, I go, noon. Make it noon. We haven't earned 3:30. We sure as hell haven't earned prime time. Noon. Make it noon. 11 a.m.
Louisville, by the way, is a 3:30 kickoff for anybody who didn't know that yet.
3:30 this week, 3:30 next. Maybe we...
Get your tickets now at Seminoles.com.
Those folks must be like, it hasn't rang in hours.
I don't envy those. I mean, those poor folks, especially in the retention department.
Well, you have to make the call.
Yeah.
You got to make the call. I wonder what the game plan is. I'd love to know the game plan. I think you have to pull on the heartstrings. My guess is that you have to say, look, if you want to avoid this sad, sap, sorry ass result every Saturday, you've got to sustain season tickets for us to be able to rebuild. Because if you decide to pull now, we never turn this thing around. They're not wrong.
That's the pitch.
They're not wrong.
That's the pitch. I'd almost
own it. You got to own it.
Right. I wouldn't even have season tickets and booster contributions separate. Like I know in a lot of people's cases, especially for hoity-toity, you do enough and you get whatever you get. But I would just say it's all one and the same. We're in this together. And or I'd say, listen, with every basketball season ticket purchase package that you take and you make your own, we'll get you 3 football games. So if you want to come see the basketball team for a full season, no problem. We got you. We'll bonus you next year's Clemson game.
Yeah, the approach, the tact is certainly to not avoid or deflect, because you're going to be calling people who answer angrily. I think. I mean, most people, oh, you're calling me. Oh, what do you want? More money, do you? You need me to contribute more for this, do you?
Yeah.
In fact, yes, sir. That is true, Roger. That is why I'm calling you.
It would be like,
do you see these results? These are unacceptable. We agree.
Somebody who's in Disney World sales, and you just went to Magic Kingdom and Mickey punched your child in the face. Like, well, we're sorry about that.
That shouldn't have happened.
But did you know the Silver Pass is now at a new and unbeatable rate of $275 for the year?
Better parking than ever before.
It is unfortunate that Mickey punched your child in the face.
Can't undo that.
We can't do anything about that.
No.
But what you can do is you can save 40% on the Silver Pass.
I like this. Give the ball to Corbin 50 times, writes somebody on the chat. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Maybe not 50, but I hear you loud and clear. Your point is well taken.
This person, Never Lose Your Nerd, was also a contributor early on, as was our friend Tom H., who's been a longtime emailer of the program.
Man, thank you very much.
Tom. And Steven, who says that I'm right. We need to get UConn in here. St. Mary's. Maybe 40.
Tom is right, Jeff. It's where we are. It's where we are. Hurts to say it, but we need UMass. We do have UMass. We already have UMass.
Annual game.
Maybe a little UConn for that ass.
Maybe we did need the bye week for UMass.
How about, well, you're not going to complain anymore, are you?
No, we need the
Take
extra
whatever
time
you need to beat whomever. Sacred Heart. A little Sacred Heart for that ass. Who else? Anybody else?
I don't know. Maybe Iona gets the band back together and gets its football program going. There you go.
Back in the day, Nebraska used to play a program called Pacific. They no longer exist, but Nebraska would beat Pacific by like 90, and people would be very angry. Why are you playing Pacific? Now, they really had no reason to be because they were a force, but they did every year, and they beat that ass resoundingly, as you might think it would be. We need some Pacifics on our
How do you reach Pacific? Would be my question.
Hey, guys.
How do you find them?
You want to? Yeah. We got you. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Reaching retirement age can bring up a lot of questions, especially regarding Social Security. In 2021, roughly 65 million Americans will receive a monthly Social Security benefit, totaling over $1 trillion for the year. Do you know how to maximize your Social Security? This is Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions, and I can help. Contact me today to schedule a free consultation to learn how you can get the most out of your Social Security. Find me online at collinsincometexsolutionsllc.com. That's collinsincometexsolutionsllc.com.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature witch, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
It's pool season, and the huge pool at Killearn Country Club is ready for you. Pool memberships are just $5.99 for the season through September, and come with poolside service and unlimited access to the 19th hole. Live the country club life without the country club price. And don't miss the weekly themed Thursday night dinners featuring exquisitely prepared meals paired with the best wines. Stay up to date with all the events and club deals at KillearnCC.com. That's KillearnCC.com.
Is your business interested in exploring safe, secure, remote access capabilities for your employees? Not sure whether to go with a Mac or with a Windows system? Call the folks at Mac & More Systems, and they can give you the guidance to make the best decision for your needs. Visit macandmoresystems.com today. Hey guys, it's Greg Tish. It's summertime, it's grilling time. But with a grill that just won't light, you're just going to end up with the summertime blues. Yeah, blues and barbecue go hand in hand, but if you get a custom outdoor kitchen built from Hearth and Patio, you'll feel like a rock star every time those flames kick on. They also sell a full line of incredible high-end grills like Fire Magic, Blaze, and Broil Master, all designed to deliver the ultimate in beauty, performance, and durability. Everything you need to elevate your grilling experience can be found at Hearth and Patio. In fact, anything related to fire can be found at Hearth and Patio. Fire pits, gas lighting, indoor and outdoor fireplaces, wood stoves, and even custom-built pizza ovens. Go see for yourself. Check out their services and products online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. That's hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Or give them a call, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. At Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
And for some time, despite the numbers being pretty gaudy. Lest we forget, and it's up to me to remind you, that this man not only besmirched but ridiculed a man and his son for telling the truth. And we're talking about Ryan Braun's sorry ass retiring from baseball. You saw he made the announcement. In an emotional Twitter post.
What? An emotional Twitter post?
Well, it's impossible to summarize my emotions. What I feel most is one simple thing: gratitude. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. I weighed this decision for many months. While I still love this game very much, the time is right for me to retire from playing. It's difficult to describe my emotions. It starts with overwhelming gratitude to those who have shared this experience with me while offering their unconditional support at every turn. Yeah, I mean, the numbers are all-time great. If you're a Brewers fan, you'll know certainly what he did. We'll also know that my man mentioned during that career path taking a sharp turn in December of 2011 that the leaked drug test in which he had tested positive for very high levels of, shall we say, testosterone because of the performance-enhancing drugs that he was taking and had been taking for a long time. While facing the suspension, he challenged the decision in 2012. And in the midst of it, he, despite evidence, again, that came to the surface, in addition to that initial test, the biogenesis documents also had his name there in its midst, the PEDs, the clinic that he chose to use, etc. All of this came to light. He told everybody that he had never taken it, that it was a lie, and that MLB had used a father-son team to take his sample, urine sample, and he suggested that perhaps that something happened on the way to the testing lab after they had arrived to take his sample with them, that maybe they had doctored it and that he would, I think it was, I swear on my life, was it?
He said, I'd bet my life.
I'd bet my life.
I'd bet my life.
I'd bet my life. I'm so certain that this father-son team had doctored his test and that he had not, in fact, failed that legitimately.
I think the father brought like his young son. It wasn't
it was
like,
a
like
really
a 60-year-old and a 40-year-old situation where these guys have been working. No.
It was a really weird deal. And then it was even weirder because Aaron Rodgers made a fool of himself by standing up for him, only to find out that, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's only one thing we can say to Ryan Braun, right?
Go to hell.
Die. Die. Go die.
I don't want
you bet your life. You bet your life.
I said it
I'm
at the
sorry.
time. I said it at the time because he did give you the heated pound your fist. I bet on my life speech, only to find out that he was in fact absolutely guilty.
You're going to call into question the integrity of a man who had nothing to do except his own job and his son.
Yeah.
And you say you're going to bet your life. We'll die.
Yeah.
There you go. Unless your words mean nothing.
They don't. That much is obvious. It is funny that group of guys back then, I wonder if they all had to do it over again. Certainly probably take a different tact because all of the guys, not all the guys, many of the guys who ended up getting caught up in that, whether it was the biogenesis stuff or any of the other leaked reports or the actual positive test that many had fallen victim to, quote unquote, you'd think, based on their reaction that they were victims. Many of them were so adamant in the way that they tried to refute that they would take it to that extent, that to that extreme. The Rafael Palmeiro waving his finger at Congress, the whole thing. I mean,
they didn't learn from that though. Guys after him.
It was really bizarre. There was the easy way out. And this is the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm wasn't born out of that, but we had a busy time. I remember having daily discussions. Guys, again, there is an easy way to do this, okay? You stand up there and say, you want to take the juice out of this? You want this to go away in a hurry? You want reporters to no longer make you the subject of their daily report?
That was a hell of a pun, by the way.
Yeah. Stand up there and say, yeah, I took illegal steroids, illegal performance-enhancing drugs because I wanted an advantage over my fellow competitors. It helped me win baseball games and make more money. I did that.
And then you could expand and say, listen, everybody's on it. And so therefore, I'm not going to lose my job.
Don't even do it. Don't even do it. Just say that. And then any other questions? Well, if they ask you why, well, I just told you, to gain an advantage over my fellow competitors and to try to win more baseball games. Do you think No, I think I was taking performance-enhancing drugs in order to get an advantage over the people I'm competing against to try to win more baseball games. We done here? Okay. I'll see you guys when I get back from the suspension. I mean, there'd be nothing else that would be it. That's all.
Right.
It's over.
Then there was also our pal Andy Pettit, who's not on the scale of, great person to Ryan Braun. He's not in the Ryan Braun area.
Right.
But he's idiot and a hypocrite.
Well, he was a liar.
And a liar.
They were all liars.
But he said, I didn't do it to gain a competitive advantage.
Yes, you did.
I was just trying to heal faster. What?
Yeah, you did it.
Wait, what? What does that even mean?
I know.
So healing is not a part of the competitive advantage.
Yeah. No, I never understood that. It would have been so easy. Like one of their agents, one of their guys could have pulled them aside and said, guys, we are screwed. I mean, they've got us left to right. You're caught. Here's a video of you going into the lab. Here you are signing the check for steroids. A lot of these guys did things like, remember that Kevin Brown, the pitcher?
Oh, yeah.
Had steroids delivered to his house and wrote a check for it? That's awesome. Anyhow, so those guys, there were some guys doing some outrageous things that you was no getting around. But guys, you can make this go away. I mean, as much as you can make any of this go away.
I believe the upper left-hand corner of the check said Kevin Brown, buyer of steroids. 123 Main Street.
Yeah. But I mean, there you go, Abdel. Look at Nelson Cruz, owned it, and is now one of the most beloved players in the league. Yeah, they're all. I think fans, after a while, anyhow, certainly, I think fans got it. They may not have been happy about it, didn't like it. I certainly didn't because I'm a bit of a nostalgic, purist when it comes to baseball. I certainly didn't like certain records being rewritten by guys who were using the kinds of substance. The things we were learning about that they were using, not just we're not going to litigate all this. I'll just say I don't like that, but at the same time, I understood pretty early on, as we all figured out, that Jose Canseco apparently was telling the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that turned out to be accurate.
Sometimes the inside man is telling you all the truth that you want to hear, maybe more than you want to hear.
Mm-hmm. Well, and at that time, I mean, it's an analogy that can make you recoil, but you know, when a prostitute takes the stand and says she was raped, it's possible that she was raped. It's possible. And so then you have Jose Canseco, a world-class cheater, a liar, a thief, a lot of things, saying that there are a lot of other guys in this league that are absolutely doing these same things. Yeah, it turned out he was telling the truth, and he could be telling the truth even if he's all those other things. Yes, you attack credibility, but you got to take into account it is possible.
Oh, another example of somebody who is not a good person whatsoever but is beloved is Bartolo Colon. Bartolo Colon was caught cheating.
Oh, like 3 times.
Yep. And then also apparently he had like a second family that one family didn't know about.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
And that, you know, because he's got a big belly and he hit a home run in San Diego, which was amazing. Everybody loves the guy. So there's a way around these things that you don't have to become Ryan Braun, who should die. There's a way around these things. Just don't say I bet my life.
Yeah. Well, and also don't try to besmirch an honest working man who's just picking up a urine sample of a guilty player, and you know you're guilty.
He called that press conference himself.
Yes, he did.
He was not forced out
he got
there.
all teary-eyed. He was on the field. Remember that?
It was
He
a
had
spring
people-
training
it was a spring
field.
training field. It was ridiculous. Clown. Let's give away some food.
All right.
You want to do that? Can we do that? Let's do some which giveaway? The Wicked Wednesday giveaway. Let's.
That's
see the
right.
little-
On Wednesdays.
Well, no, but I want to see the thingy. I want to look at the. You've got a picture of it. I thought we always have one, don't we?
Well, that's the placard that we give away to the folks.
Well, I know that. I thought there was something on our Warchant feed that I would be able to see. I figured it was there. My bad. Go ahead and read it.
Well, I've got the phone number for you. Get ready, everybody. We're going to know which phone number
Caller
to call.
3, everybody. Caller 3 is
850-523-7890. I always want to give out the old phone number. This is the correct phone number.
Caller 3.
523.
You win a Wicked $5. There you go. Let's go. And as Tom correctly points out, don't use this gift certificate on Wednesdays.
That's correct, because it's $5 on Wednesdays. Go out there today and go get you a Wicked.
Caller 3, 523-370. Oh, wait. Ah!
See?
Yeah, I almost did it. I almost did it. All right, you read it. I'm screwing this thing up.
523-7890. That's like, so I just handed the note back on the phone number to Matthew, and when you said that, it's like trying to think of how a song goes when there's another song playing.
Yeah.
So 523-7890.
I'll shut up now. I'm a mess today. Bear with me, everybody. Hang in there. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
This will be the last school year for Florida standards assessments testing in the state. Governor DeSantis announced Tuesday morning the governor called the FSA test ineffective and said it takes days to administer and cannot be personalized. Instead, he says it will be replaced by progress monitoring 3 times per year, which he says can be administered in hours. He says it will require 75% less testing time and offer timely results. The Florida Education Association favored the move, saying it would free up time for genuine teaching and learning. The Cairo Police Department is looking for Douglas Moonk Broomfield after a man was shot early Tuesday morning. Officers responded to a shots-fired call in the 900 block of Calvary Road Southwest just before 7:30 a.m. Once officers arrived, police said witnesses told them there was an argument between the victim and Broomfield, and that Broomfield fired a shot at the victim while he was in his vehicle. Broomfield is at large, and anyone with any information on his whereabouts is asked to call 911. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McEnmore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McEnmoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 83. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy tonight. Scattered thunderstorms likely. Lows level off around 72. Scattered thunderstorms likely tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 83. Overcast. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 85.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state government, including public health and emergency response agencies, our friends at ISF recognize September as National Preparedness Month and want to help you be safe this hurricane season. Visit ISF.com to learn more and download your emergency preparedness plan today. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Greg Tish, Real Talk 93.3.
Hey, everybody, this is Greg Tish. Thank you so much for listening to Real Talk 93.3. Don't forget, you can check out me and Maddie Rowe every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on The Greg Tish Show. Wake up with a smile with The Greg Tish Show. How's that sound, Maddie Rowe? Is that a good promo for you?
That's good enough for me.
Is that good? Are we at 30 seconds yet?
Right about now.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness, 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road, and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Being willing to answer after tough losses. And I don't know if you saw it, but listen, it's one thing. The coaches are paid handsomely to own this. They have to. They have no choice. And I don't actually think that's too difficult. I think if you're making $3, $4, $5 million a year and your team plays poorly and you're in charge, that's just part of the responsibility, not difficult. I always laugh when coaches push back on that. I'm like, you spoiled bastard. Get it together. What do you think you're supposed to do? You're making millions of dollars. There's not a CEO in the world who's making that kind of money that doesn't have to answer serious questions if their business starts to go south. You're going to have to answer stakeholders and everybody else. Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're gone, either internally or otherwise. You're going to be gone. I mean, if you preside over failure after failure, you're going to have to answer.
Repeated failures, yes.
Oh,
yes,
sure.
but-
Well, what is this? I mean, so yeah, so here you go. And moreover, it's not like, again, I on the one hand, I always take the side of the coach who's brief, who's not terse, but brief. I don't owe it to you to go play by play through our failures. So I don't expect you to get up there and do that. And I certainly don't want to hear you whining. And I certainly am not going to like beg for fans' forgiveness or anything like that. I don't expect that, like the Pound of Flesh group. No, don't do that. You can get up there and say, obviously, we failed miserably. I mean, you can't lose that game. That's a terrible loss. Hopefully, we're going to learn from this. There's a lot to go over. I'll do so with my team. I take responsibility for not having this team prepared. I've already apologized to them. We got a lot of work to do, as all of you saw. Any questions? Boom. Whatever your question is, I'm going to answer it. It's going to be probably a one-sentence answer. What were you thinking on this play? Well, here's my thought on that play. I chose to make this. I chose this personnel, or I chose this. Obviously, it didn't work. Next question. Yeah, I mean, like, you can play it that way, but you have to go out there and own it. Our coaches did. They did. I'm not saying they didn't. They did. College players, that's a little different. It's tough when you run a kid, a younger player, presumably an amateur. Although that's beginning to change.
That's changing.
That is changing.
Yeah.
But you saw that, right? You saw Jarvis Brownlee get up there today and answer questions about what happened. That's tough. And he did a good job. And I think the best way to handle any of these things, it's much like the steroid conversation we were just having, is just to confront it.
Yeah, it's tough for me, though, because the one thing, I can understand owning it and then being able to move on and advance the discussion. Like, I get that. So if a coach says this is on us, and then you go into more details afterwards, you're allowed to have more leeway with things. But when he said that they froze, we had some guys freeze on the last play. While that may be true, why are they in the position that they're in to freeze? And so if you answer that question, do you come back to a place where maybe you think, I don't even know that I want to go there and say that my players froze?
Yeah.
They froze in the moment. He said it twice. The first time I thought it was a slip up. I was like, ooh, well, that's unfortunate. And then he came back and he said, we had some guys freeze in the moment. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I don't know why that happens. Is what he said.
Dude, your defensive coordinator or whoever's signaling the plays in, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
They froze.
Yeah.
On fourth down, when the only viable option on the play was a fade in the back corner of the end zone, you froze. Don't be saying that they froze. It might be true, but why?
Yeah.
If you're going to go to painstaking lengths to defend your defensive coordinator, then shouldn't you defend your players as well in the same breath? That was the one problem I had with Monday's presser. They froze in the moment.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Relatively minor, and it was said it wasn't harped upon. It did come back up, but I do think by and large, certainly the press conference after the game was a good example of how you take responsibility for that.
Yeah, it was. Sure.
But that's really all you owe. I mean, and you're paid really well to do that at the very least. So, yeah, that one's not real hard. I mean, that one's easy. You get up there and just, hey.
I'm just saying the players might freeze in the moment because maybe the coach in that situation is so cold that he lowers the temperature of everything around him to below freezing.
When you make an assumption that your team can handle certain things and they can't, then you failed. That's on you. You made an assumption that there was a confidence level, a maturity level, an experience level.
I thought we could handle 2-man under or robber or whatever the hell it was.
Mm-hmm.
No, man. Well, come on.
No. I'm just talking about the overriding intent going into the game to be to experiment and to treat it as a glorified scrimmage. Like it starts with that. And then everything that transpires after that is, we can get into the details of those things and how miserable they are to watch play out. But it began with you making assumptions about what you could get away with and what they could handle. And that was the mistake. That really was the mistake. Is when you say they weren't prepared to play, it's because you're running a play action in which you're faking a handoff to McKenzie Milton. I mean, what are we doing? That's crazy.
Now that is a good question.
Yeah.
Just, excuse me. Yeah, hang on a minute.
Curious. What was the threat there?
Speaking of freezing in the moment.
Yeah.
When we signal that play call in, and man, I know that they had talked about it in summer, in July in the ACC kickoff, that maybe they could be on the field at the same time.
Oh, you could. There are ways to do that.
And maybe a couple of the earlier plays were.
Mm-hmm.
And that drive by itself didn't destroy the game.
Well, no, and it was part of their script, so you're going to say, all right, well.
But if you have the drive before it where there's fourth down drop, you know what's key about that? You're on fourth down. Why are you in fourth down? Because you couldn't get a couple yards in third and short. So that's a red flag, right? And then the fourth down drop, okay, so physically we didn't get what we needed to in third and short. And fourth down, mentally we weren't ready to make that catch. Then you have a drive. Okay, good job. You get out of your end zone. Now it's time to break out the tricks. That doesn't work. What kind of kills me is in that moment, we don't say, all right, you know what? Guys, red alert, plan B. Jay-Sean, get ready, man. I thought I could give you 12 touches tonight and we'd roll. Sorry about this, my man, but we're going to need 20 touches out of you. Trayshawn, get over here. Trayshawn, 15 touches out of you. Sorry, guys. We shouldn't have to do this looking around at everybody else.
Yeah.
But now we're going to have to do this to Trayshawn and Jay-Sean.
And today is the last day. We move on. Tomorrow I'm not doing this. We're not talking about this game anymore. We're not doing this tomorrow. This was the last day. It was a big part of it. Again, we'll transition, Redemption Thursday wagers, the whole deal. We'll look ahead to a lot of games. We'll focus on what Florida State has to do to beat Wake, etc. But the last vestige of, I think, probably concern and frustration has to do with a story that Ira Schafel wrote today, Warchant.com, largely commending Brownlee and others for taking responsibility. But at some point here, you do read this and you think, that's curious. Brownlee and Akeem Dent and Travis Jay had to wear orange jerseys in practice this week. And we know those are the jerseys worn as punishment. Generally, it's not a punishment for something you did on the field in a game where you just, you don't have to wear it if you got beat. You don't have to wear it because somebody physically outperformed you or anything like that. You have to do it because you didn't do things the right way off the field.
That'd be something.
Yeah, that'd be tough. So it's usually an off the field deal. And you could be late to a meeting. It could be whatever the team expectations are for you behaviorally, whatever it is, okay?
Your punishment must be more severe.
So Brownlee said this about that. Quote, when we get things off the field correct, then on the field, things will come. Snaps his fingers just like that.
Oh, boy. Well,
that was troubling.
Yeah, that's kind of like the Jamar Chase thing from last week. However,
He had
Jamar
a great
Chase
game.
turned
He
around
had
and
a
had a
great
great
game.
game.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully we can have the same kind of outcome here.
Mhm.
Red alert quote, and nothing to see here play.
It does make you worry though. Like what was happening?
Once you get things in order off the field.
Yeah, it's when we get things off the field correct, then on the field things will come just like that.
I don't know that he's doing this, but if that's a next level chess move in which he's responding to, these guys froze, I don't know why, and that's his response, then bravo.
No, that's not what he's doing. I think that's somebody was late to a meeting. Somebody that's they weren't buttoned up in their preparation. That's what that is. And then this happens, and it's like, oh, well, look at that. We can't afford to do that. No, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to do that. You can't be good enough to be late to a meeting. And I also think it coincides, by the way, with some of the conversations Norvell had this week about his team, where he said, it depends on how we prepare in meetings. Are you there on the edge of your seat taking notes, actively soaking in learning, trying to take in the knowledge, or are you just kind of slumping back, doing something because you have to check a box?
Yeah.
I would marry those two things.
And Mike's not wrong. But you know what? He also screwed it up himself.
No, but he hasn't said he didn't. I'm saying though that because he was asked questions about how they're responding and what you can do and how you challenge them, and that was the result. That was an answer to a question, and I think that answer is telling. It's still on him to get it right, but that is telling. Like, why is that still happening? I thought we were beyond that. It
Correct.
felt like we were beyond that.
Why is that still happening? Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that can't keep happening. God dog it, guys. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
What's important when shopping at a gun store? Let's start with a friendly and knowledgeable staff. Then add top-notch service, great selection and pricing, and a personal shopping experience only found at a locally owned and operated business. At Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. This summer, you can save money and stay comfortable. Ask about our annual service agreement with no overtime charges ever. At Barano Heating and Air, we're always there for you. Online at BaranoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Everyone has their own routine after a long day. For me, I like to take a walk with my dog, get some fresh air, maybe relax on the porch, and lay in my hammock in a nice shady spot. No matter what your routine is, you know the sound of those mosquitoes. It starts with just, then another, and then another. And before you know it, you're literally slapping yourself, running for safety inside. Paul's Termite and Pest Control has an inexpensive solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program that treats the grounds, flower beds, shrubs, and standing water, and it controls mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard and quit smacking yourself across the face. Enjoy your yard again, mosquito-free. Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control today for your free consultation for the elimination of termites or any other pest. Visit Paul's online at callpauls.com. That's callpauls.com.
It all started with a simple family dream, some hard work, and the foundation of honest, loyal, and fair customer service. Now, Spartan Stoneworks is Tallahassee's premier granite, marble, and quartz specialist. Your kitchen is your family's gathering place. So let a company with strong family values bring your kitchen back to life. Stop wishing for your new kitchen and call Spartan Stoneworks today at 510-4249. That's 510-4249. Online at SpartanStoneworks.com.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, Eddie, what would you be doing?
I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be. A boat captain or a cowboy.
Do you know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Have chosen to do something like that as a in a moment of solidarity, as they announced that these, they don't have to announce it, but maybe internally, as you hand out the orange jerseys to certain players, you're like, and I'm going to wear one too. Let's get it together, everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's go to work.
Tuesday practice available to the media because you'd want to make sure the whole world knows. And then here he comes jogging in. There's Mike. He's got a orange penny on. All right.
It's like it's a prison outfit.
Well, we're all prisoners right now, aren't we?
I've been enjoying baseball still, Tom. Luckily, I have baseball to fall back on. I'm not even kidding a little bit.
So you mentioned that about Sunday night. Did you see the Bears and Rams game? And I watched maybe 10 minutes of it, maybe, because the Sunday night baseball game between the Mets and the Yankees, sure, it's my team. That's an entertaining baseball game.
Yeah, it is.
So it actually won for me, the battle of the remotes.
There you go. Baseball's been really good lately. They've had a great second half of the season. Wild card race is great. Everything's good. That Toronto story is awesome.
Yep.
You haven't been watching.
I watched that one. I was like, man, Chicago's got no chance. This game stinks. Week 1 was kind of bad in the NFL. Who knew that the Bucs game would be one of the more entertaining games? Terribly sloppy and hard to watch, but entertaining.
You do know that Vlad is kind of close to winning a Triple Crown?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's crazy. It's time for Probables, brought to you by North Florida Payroll Services. North Florida Payroll Services located locally. It is located locally. You can find it right around here.
In North Florida, in fact.
Yeah. Locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Head to northfloridapayroll.com.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Got a game underway already. Marlins Nats. Nobody cares about it. It is 1-0 Washington in the 5th. Trevor Rogers, Josh Rogers. They're everywhere.
Live on Rogers Sportsnet.
Also got a game between the Brewers and the Tigers underway. That's 3-1 Detroit. Brandon Woodruff, Matt Manning. Rays, Blue Jays, Michael Wacha, Robbie Ray, Red Sox, Mariners.
Hey!
Oh, I forgot. You could tell I'm not right today. I'm not right. Robbie Ray!
Yay!
Red Sox, Mariners. Oh, I didn't get my wish. Tanner Houck, Marco Gonzalez. Reds, Pirates. Pirates beat the Reds last night. Suck it, Reds. Vladimir Gutierrez and Mitch Keller, he of the I Suck 4-11-629 Keller family. Cubs, Phillies, Alec Mills, Ranger Suarez.
Mitch Keller is the guy you'd play in a scramble with and find out after about 2 holes, too intense, listens to pop country, and doesn't want to have a beer.
Have you seen the commercial where I think it's the eczema commercial? I don't know. It's the commercial where whatever the skin condition
Psoriasis, eczema, that is a market and a half.
It's a huge market.
It is the Viagra of our time.
I think it's a market for middle-aged to upper middle-aged, older white people who love really bad country music. Because they try to use basically the blueprint for every song that's on, say, 94.9 TNT or 103 The Wolf or whatever those crappy stations. So
number 1 and 2 on my radio dial.
Yeah, so like each of the songs sound exactly the same, and those commercials sound like they're imitating those songs. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, they're cornholing by the water.
Whoa, easy!
They're playing some cornhole by the water.
Oh, okay. Throwing bags. Yeah.
They're cornholing by the water.
Yeah.
Hey, I can take off my shirt. My blotchy red skin's good.
But Mitch, it's like not every scramble's the same. There are some scrambles, it's like 8 a.m. and you realize this is the one you just want to get through. We got to get through this one, get to luncheon and go.
Yeah.
Then there are others where it's like, I'm taking the day off. I am taking the day off. This is always a golf tournament to plan. And you get in the cart with Mitch. He's like,
he's ruined it.
I don't need the cart, girl. I got water here.
Okay. This is the kind of day we're going to have
5
here.
hours with this guy.
Yeah.
Great.
Listening to Kenny Chesney. Yankees, Orioles, Nestor Cortez, John Means, Cardinals, Mets, John Lester, Tyler McGill, Rockies, Braves, Antonio Centinela, and Huska Noah. Indians, Twins, Cal Quantrill, Griffin Jacks. If I said that and you were able to say get over here or whatever he used to say, that wasn't Jacks, that was Scorpion.
That was Scorpion. Yeah, Jax was the guy with the
huge uppercut,
the metal
didn't he?
arms.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm. He has arms ripped off somewhere because he was like a law enforcement with Sonya, and then they put the arms back on.
God, you know a lot about the story.
Well, Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2, I was 8 and 10. So, yeah,
that
that's
makes sense.
right in the wheelhouse.
Yeah. Astros, Rangers, Jose Urquidy, and Kohei Arihara. A's, Royals, Sean Manaea, Carlos Hernandez, Angels, White Sox, Jansen Junk.
What?
The guy's name is Jansen Junk.
You know, about a minute ago, I was going to say, we need better names.
You got one.
That is an all-timer. Please tell me he's a soft-tossing lefty.
No, he's a righty. I don't know if he's soft-tossing or not, but I will tell you. That was good. I will tell you that he's probably a bro, and when he says his last name, he probably does that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, annoying. You're like, oh, again, Jansen? Yeah. You're 32. We're still doing this?
A Pike, are you? All right.
Yeah. Jansen Junk and Dallas Keuchel. Padres, Giants, Joe Musgrove and Dominic Leone, and finally D-backs, Dodgers, Merrill Kelly and Julio Urias. And that is a look at those. The shower is out of the boat. Just let that ride for a few minutes. So I did, if you guys haven't had a chance to go down the rabbit hole, I think a lot of people did yesterday. But man, you can YouTube it for days and laugh for hours upon hours. And we made mention of it yesterday with Norm Macdonald's passing, but just probably 2.5 hours, 3 hours, just going down that rabbit hole of finding moments of him as a guest on talk shows and or podcasts. Endless laughter.
Nobody intentionally bombed better than Norm Macdonald. When he decided he was going to bomb and make it uncomfortable for everybody, it was like that was, the spinach was to Popeye. Like he thrived on that stuff. I remember one of the roasts. He gave the worst roast I've ever
he read
heard.
Old jokes. He read you ever seen the one where he got up there intentionally? He hated roasts, and he talked about this later on. He thought they were cruel. He didn't like them. He thought it was a bad thing to do. He thought it crossed a line. So one of his goals was to get up there and do the anti-roast. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't play that game. He stopped doing them. He hated him so much.
He did one on Comedy Central, and it's bad for about a minute. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, this man's for the birds. And it's that.
Yeah.
Everybody's silent. And then the people on the stage get it because that's what they do for a living.
Yeah.
But he embraced that terrible vacuum feeling that we all are afraid of as when you do public speaking or anything.
Yeah, he's his ability to sit with something and let it get uncomfortable is a skill, is an art. Yeah, you have to be committed. To tell the moth joke, you've got to be committed. I mean, to do those things, you have to be very committed. I mean, we're 5 minutes in, and everybody's like, and he's just
right.
He's right here.
And Conan, you're making him squirm, which is why I have so much more respect for somebody like Norm over Conan. And it's not like
Conan loved Norm. No,
he did, but he's also got his mode, like his FM DJ talk show host mode on, and he's like laughing, over laughing. Fallon does this too. The overlaugh.
Fallon's the king of the overlaugh.
Right.
He's also not funny.
But he's like squirming for dear life instead of embracing it. I'm like, all right. See, Norm can even bring that out of somebody who knows what's happening.
And he knows that it's happening. He knew it was going to happen before it happened. Go look at him telling Jerry Seinfeld about Bill Cosby. Go watch that one. That's good. Good work out of you, Matthew. Good work out of you, Tom. And thanks to all of you for putting up with me today. I'll be right. I'll get it together. Lots of water. Be good, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.